Hey, what's going on? This is Side New 229. So earlier today, I was having a conversation with my wife, and we were talking about anxiety. And so for my wife, she gets anxious a lot, right? So she gets this anxiety, this worrisome feeling that builds up whenever things happen. So we're gonna go leave the house. There's a lot that goes into it nowadays. For some individuals, you experience it all the time. You have numerous children, so there's certain things that have to be taken care of and done. And with a newborn, there's a lot. You just can't leave the house with a newborn. Right? You have to have the bag packed with bottle and formula and change diapers and change clothes and all this other stuff. And then we have a 3-year-old that's almost 4. So there's certain things that we have to make sure that he's good with. And then obviously ourselves in regards to leaving the house. So there's things that build up, and she gets anxiety to leave the house, and it's a lot better than it used to be. But she gets anxious, and I was thinking about it. I was like, well, why do we always get anxious when these things are coming up, right? Whether it's in our personal life or our professional life, of this worry feeling, right? Well, what can we do about this worrisome feeling? And for me, especially when it comes to, just leaving the house with the kids, there's certain things that just have to be done. So it's something that is known, and there's nothing to worry about overall because, hey, this is life. We live life. We have to go ahead and do it. You can't just live in the house the rest of your life. So there's certain things that have to be done. A basic checklist of what it is that needs to be done. Bottles, formula, diapers, change of clothes, all the different stuff that goes along with having a child, a newborn especially. Does my other son, hey, toy, whatever, sweater, there's basic stuff, right? It's basic stuff. So why worry about it? Why get, this worrisome feeling like, oh my God, do we have everything? Just double check it. And she gets so frustrated with me because I don't get that anxiety when it comes to it, and she does, and I try to explain, just like, relax. There's nothing to it overall. I got it, right? So I'm completely different, and you might be completely different than me, or you might be the exact same, where there's certain things that just don't worry you, right? When there's something coming up at work and it's something that's, really big, there's an event that needs to be done, whatever, there's nothing that you can do, right, that should worry you so much where it really keeps you from accomplishing what it is that you need to accomplish. Look, there's going to be things that come up. There's going to be things that pop out of nowhere. There's going to be things that you shouldn't get anxiety about it. You shouldn't get this worrisome feeling like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. 9 times out of 10, you're not the first person to ever do it. Right? There's other people that are out there that are doing it. There's 100,000 other people that are leaving their house with a brand new newborn baby. And I try to explain those things when I'm having conversations, not with just my wife, but with other individuals. When it comes to this, right? People get this worrisome feeling about like, well, this is due, this report is due, and I got to make sure that it's. Look, you're not the first person to do that. Right? You have the same amount of time as other people when it comes to it. Hey, look, go down this piece of, checklist and knock out, specifics section by section by section. And guess what? All of a sudden, bam, there it is. Leaving the house. Here's the checklist. You leave the house. You get into repetition of doing it over and over and over and over. Well, that should take away some of that anxiety that you have. But for some individuals, they just continue to get this worrisome feeling about everything. You got to stop. You can't do that, because if you do that, it's going to eat you up alive. Right? And I try to explain that to my wife, and I try to explain that to other individuals that really have this anxiety all the time about everything. You can't. You can't worry about everything. And here's the reason that I say that you can't worry about everything. And I think my mindset is the way that it is when it comes to it, is because I used to worry about everything. I used to worry about everyone's opinion. I used to worry about, is it done correctly? I used to worry about, X, Y, Z, whatever it is. And I worried and I worried and I worried, where that worry was literally like internally eating myself alive. And I realized you got to stop doing that. Anxiety is something that, is curable. It's curable. And I'm not saying that you got to take anxiety meds to cure that anxiety. You have to get into a routine of doing certain things over and over and over until you realize, guess what? You can do it because you've done it previously. There's nothing to be anxious about. It's the same thing. If you were giving a brief to your boss, well, Well, you give the first brief and you might suck at the first brief, but you know what? You learn from that, you move on to the next, and you give another brief and another brief and another brief. So then it doesn't matter who the brief is. When you stop looking at whoever it is you're briefing in a different light, and you just go out there and you give that brief, and you have that, repetition of doing it, that anxiety should go away. If you got anxious about making cheeseburgers at freaking, fast food restaurant, well, you do it over and you do it over and you do it over and you do it over again until you aren't anxious anymore. And I try to explain that, like I said, with whatever it is. Leaving the house with my kids, leaving the house, going out, doing whatever it is, over and over and over and over again. There's nothing to be anxious about. Whatever you got going on in your life, you don't need to worry about it in the ways that you think that you might need to worry about it. Look at it from a different light. Look at it like, hey, look, there's nothing that you're going to do. I promise you, there's nothing that you're going to do right now that no one else has ever done. You're not the first one. You're not the first one that's going to go ahead and do this. So what is there to be worried about? Talk to other individuals. Talk to other individuals that have done it. Seek the necessary help that you might need to accomplish whatever it is that you need to accomplish. But don't be anxious about it. Don't worry as much as you worry, because guess what? If you do that, when it comes to whatever it is, being successful in life, if it's literally making cheeseburgers, to giving a brief, to leaving the house with your family, you are not going to be good at it because you worry yourself to death and you let that internally just eat you alive and you just can't control it. And this anxiety just eats you up. So stop. Stop being anxious. Stop having this worrisome feeling because it's life. This is life. The best part about it is so many other individuals do it every single day just like you. And they make it, and so can you. It's simple. Just like that. Until my next video, I appreciate you watching Decide New 229.